check. All right. Let's go. All right, draft starting in about a minute. Let's get it. Let me know if you're out there, if you can hear me. Anything needs to be changed. Volume's good. Everything else. What's up, Jimmy? Got the Devon Achane Jersey League right now. 12 team, best ball. Getting ready to start. Just going to go on the page and make sure I tag everybody. Where's Pitter Patter over here? Gotta go to the chat. Come on, Pitter Patter. He did this shit last time too. Yeah, good luck, everybody. Sid checking in from Hawaii. All right, keeping it rolling here. Come on, Pitter Patter. Waiting on you, bro. There we go. All right, all is here. 9 o'clock. We good to go. Let's go. Starting. Let's get it. Good luck. And let's go. Draft has begun. Sit on the clock. Obviously, this first round, first 2 rounds, 3 rounds gonna be pretty easy. Maybe somebody reaches, somebody doesn't. This could be Jamar, Allen, Lamar, maybe Daniels, Burrow. I don't probably wouldn't probably do it go that crazy, but Bijan. I've seen Brock go first. Maybe Devon Achane. Um, I'm scared. Yeah, it's all right. Everybody's gonna do fine. We're all good here. This is one of the cheaper ones. I'm big on the Achane for $19. I feel like next year this is gonna be going for like 26 because I don't know. It's weird how memorabilia goes. It's similar to sleepers in fantasy. You get those guys that are on the down coming into the season that you think are gonna pop, and then you ride it to the victory pretty much. But all right, we got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson off the board, Jamar Chase to follow. This is full PPR, extra point five for the tight end premium, super flex. So one quarterback. Well, you could start two. One quarterback, a super flex, two running back, three wide receiver, one tight end, two flex, best ball for Devon Achane autographed jersey. Not bad, not bad. He's nervous as shit right now. He don't know who to pick. Come on, Jimmy. Who's he going with? Oh, there we go. Daniels. All right. Pitter pat on the clock. First round. Making up for his last draft. He missed the first 4 rounds. Got auto picked last draft. The shame. See who he's gonna go with. We got Burrow as a top quarterback on the board. Burrow and Hurts, Bijan, Gibbs, and Barkley are the top running backs. Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb, the top wide receivers. He goes Hurts. A little early for me. I probably would have took one of the running backs there. Maybe C.D. Burrow off the board. Okay, Burrow in the 1-6. Early quarterback run. Bowers off the board. Burrow. I was thinking of reaching for JJ. That wouldn't have even been too much of a reach. I personally like CD over JJ, and so does Randall over there. How does the mic sound? Do I need to go up? Do I need to go down? Am I good? You guys let me know. I'm looking at the comments now. Just keep interacting this whole thing. Whatever, if you guys got any questions, let me know. If you want to know what I think about a pick, let me know. This is all new to me. I'm trying to figure it out. So let's do it together. Make it work. So Bowers, CD, and Robinson off the board. The J Mart, WJW with Gibbs. Solid, solid, solid. Jefferson slid to the 111, which is good value for him. This round could go either way. I personally like CD over Jefferson, but a lot of people are looking at Jefferson as he's not going past the 1-6. Barkley with the 112 on a turn. What do we got here? Coming back. Ish and Gentry's up top there, and Brown and Barkley. That's a good little start there on the turn. You get your wide receiver one, and you get your RB one. You're good to go. Fresh off that Jefferson pick, let's see what Frank's gonna do. Yeah, wow, JJ at 111 is crazy. Yep. But who knows? I like CD better, but we'll see what happens. You go either way because Dallas now with Pickens there. Who knows what's going to happen with that? CMC with the 2-2. So Frank with Jefferson and CMC. His little start there. Puka and Gibbs for WJW. That's a solid 1-2 right there. You got your wide receiver and RB1s off the board. Fresh off that Robinson pick. See what J Mart's got. Yeah, right. I see you there. Leave Genty for you. Yeah, that's going to be another good value. All right, what are we doing? All right, Thomas. So that's a solid start for Randall. I was surprised. WJ. Oh, the back-to-back tight ends, Bowers and McBride. I love it. I love the start. And Genty at the 2-7 is great value. Great value. Yeah, wow. I love the double tight ends. You deplete the tight ends for the rest of the league, and you stack up on two tight ends, and a point five is nothing crazy, but it is nice when you get two tight ends that are just target monsters. Now you'll have other people reaching for tight ends eventually. That's just tight end premium does it. It alters the super flex. But yeah, so Neighbors and Bijan is a solid start for J Mart. Two Randall's got the two wide receivers. Smart's got the two tight ends, which is great. Burrow and Genty is solid. Hurts and Henry, it's everything's solid. It's the second round, but things could switch it up. They could alter the draft now, you know. So trust me, a bad pick will change things up really quick. Got him, yeah, you got him. Wow, double tight ends, yep. Solid, solid, solid. Let's see. All right, Achane off the board. There he is, the league man right there. Chase and Collins, great 1-2 right there. That's solid. But yeah, let's talk Achane over there. I think he's gonna have a good season. This is we're obviously playing for his jersey. We're gonna hope it goes up in value. Um, he's gonna be that guy there. You know, he's right. It'll take a little bit, but nothing crazy. Now, who knows what Wall is going to do? I thought originally after that trade that Achian's value was going to go up the most, him and Waddle, obviously. Jacobs off the board with the 211. That's my guy there. I love Jacobs. Jacobs is going to be one of my most owned players in fantasy this year. I think he's going to have a monster season. All right, we got Drake London off the board with the 212. Fresh off that Josh Allen pick. Let's see what he does here with the wraparound. All right. Top on the board, Mahomes, Bucky, Ladd, Bo Nix. All right, Bucky Irvin to go with the London and Josh Allen. I'm actually going to be posting probably tomorrow. I did a London jersey league, and everybody was. I gave them two options: a black one and a red one. And the black one won. And a lot of guys they wanted the red one, so I was like, "Hey, we could do something. We make it eight. We're going to do an 8-man league for a little bit more of a buy-in, but." An 8-person league. There's already like 5 people that want in on it. So I'll probably be posting that. So if anybody's interested in that, get in there. Uh, Ladd off the board to go with Jacobs and Jackson. That's a solid start right there. Drew with the Taylor pick, get his RB1 to go with his two stud wide receivers. I love the start there. AJ Brown with H. and Daniels. I'm not too high on Daniels, like too much. Like I'm not big on taking quarterback first round or two anyway, unless somebody really slides. But it's everybody's building their own team. You know, it is what it is. Um, I would just look at it as I'd rather have like somebody like CD, Achane, and Brown. But who knows how that would have felt? You know, with the 1-4, you have so many options. I feel like it would have been a reach for CD, but who knows? Um, Pitter patter on the board, on the clock. Let's see what he's got. Garrett Wilson off the board with the 3-5. Pretty solid. Not bad, not bad. Mint Crunchberry on the board. We got who we going with here, Minty? Top on the board, we got quarterback wise is Mahomes, Bo Nix, Baker, Justin Herbert. Mahomes off the board. Kittle was off the board for before that. Solid start there with Burrow, Genty, and Kittle. I like that. You got your tight end there. And first non-tight end taken for Smart is Mahomes. Solid, 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 solid. Chase Brown with the 3-8 to follow up that Brian Thomas pick and CD. So that's still solid there. Very similar to Drew. You guys both have your two stud wide receivers and a good RB1 to start off with. J Mart with the two RB1s there. And Neighbors, you know, that would have been a solid start last year to say I left the draft with Brees and Bijan would have been solid, but who knows what Bijan's going to be? Who knows what? Well, we know what Bijan's going to be this year. I think Bijan's going to be a monster. But Brees, who knows? Big question mark. I'm a miserable Jets fan, so hopefully he can perform. Cook went after that to pair with Gibbs at the running backs. Solid. Filthiest Frank. He got Marvin Harrison and then swung around and got Rice on a wraparound. So you got Jefferson, Marv, Rice, and CMC. That's a solid start. With the 312 and the 4-1, you went Baker and Evans. Perfect stack right there to go with your solid running back and solid wide receiver one that you already have. So that's a great start there. Leave that stack. Love that stack. Love that stack. That's probably one of my most stacked. Between that and Hill and Tua because it's so late. But we all know Tua is one fucking finger flick away from a concussion, so it's probably going to kill me in a lot of leagues. Kamara off the board. WJW loves his running backs. He went four straight running backs the last draft, but he sprinkled in Puka in this one. I guess he liked the value of Puka at the 2-3. So he took Kamara to pair with Cook, Puka, and Gibbs. We got J Mart on the clock. Still, these quarterbacks are there. Bo Nix is top quarterback available on my book. We got JSN still hanging out there, not bad. Williams, Hampton's there. T. Higgins. I'm not a big T. Higgins guy, but my pick would be JS. Yeah, Bo Nix or JSN. JSN's value is going to get better and better here. Randall with the Williams and Brown, two RBs. Thomas and Lamb with the wide receivers, pretty solid. Tyreek off the board, first wide receiver there for him. There's that JSN right there. That's great value to Minty. Burrow, Genty, Kittle, and JSN. Solid start there. Loving it. We'll see. Darnold. Who knows what Darnold's going to do this year? There, I believe in him. I believed him as a Jet fan. He just was. Jets can't develop anybody to fucking save anybody. It's horrible. So we'll see what happens there. Pitter patter on the clock, fresh off that Hurts, Henry, and Wilson picks. See what he's going to go here. Not much to go by, depending on if you want. All right, McMillan going to be a target monster there. Big question mark with that offense if Young is going to be able to do it or not. Um, I personally don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's not going to be a top 15 quarterback, but he'll get his. He'll get his. He's going to be like Neighbors last year. A bad system gets a whole shitload of targets. McLaurin off the board with the 4-9 to pair with Brown as his two wide receivers right there. Uh, Herbert off the board at the 4-10. First quarterback taken for Drew to go with Chase, Collins, and Taylor. I like the start there. Herbert's solid, Kyler off the board. So we got Kyler and Jackson, two solid quarterbacks, and then you got Jacobs, which I love, and McConkey. Not a bad pick. Higgins off the board to go with London, Irvin, and Josh Allen. Solid start there. On the wraparound, what do we got going here? Adams. All right, so Sid's got his three wide receivers there, filling that up. London, Higgins, Adams, Bucky at his running back, and Josh Allen as quarterback. Solid start from the one spot. Can't really go wrong with the one spot. What's up, Jay? What's up, Jay? What's your thought on double tight end? I always wanted to try that combo. Yeah, bro, it's dangerous. I'm big on double tight end, especially you got two flex. Your points overall. These are points overall leagues too. So you grab two solid tight ends, you're getting good points at that tight end spot every week throughout the season, pretty much. And you don't have to worry about the buys, and you're depleting the tight end value. If this was a three flex league, I'd probably say go three tight ends. But there's some value later in the draft. I like Sam's value this year. I felt like last year he had a down year. Hawkinson's going to be a target monster. Kelsey's Kelsey, but I feel like he's still going to have those hit or miss games. Warren, I'm fading a little bit. Andrews, I like, but he scares me. Smith, I was all over before the trade, and now I still think he's going to do good in tight end sets, but we'll see what happens there. Loveland's not a bad pick, but Komet still scares me. Komet is a monster. It's just that it's who's going to command the ball. Evan Ingram is my guy here at the 107. I feel like his ADP is going to skyrocket before the before like August. And then Joko, this guy, and then you got Hurts, Zach Ertz and stuff late in Gazecki's not bad, So this tight end's there. You could wait on tight end. It's not a bad thing. Let's go keep up the stream, brother. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. So let's go back to this. We got off the board after the Adams pick was Walker. Solid. I'm loving the second team here. That's a great start. Hampton, solid too, with to go with Taylor. Drew always drafts good. Williams to go with Daniels is a good pairing at quarterback, and then Purdy to go with Hurts right after that. That's solid. What else we got here? We got Metcalf off the board. Metcalf and JSN. You a Seattle fan? Still got love for Metcalf. Dak off the board to go with Mahomes. That's a solid start. So you got two. Dak is going to be. People sleep on Dak. I think now with Pickens there, it's going to be interesting to see how he could do it. Coming off that injury, the injury derailed him. Obviously, the injury derailed him, but he was doing great before he got hurt. So we'll see what happens. I'm a believer in Dak, especially if he falls. I think that's good value there for him though with the 5.7. Mix into Randall over there at the 5.8 to go with Williams, Brown, Thomas, and Lamb. Developing something solid there, Randall. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Bo Nix to go with May. Well, May to go with Bo Nix. That'd be a great dynasty start there, J Mart. And then we got DJ Moore off the board. Chuba, Goff. Let's see what he does here. That's not bad. Goff and Baker. That looks a lot like one of my teams. I'm actually all over Goff this year. Grab Sam. Grab Sam. Harvey. Yeah, I would have been. Because I love that Laporta and Goff stack, especially in tight end premium, because you're gonna get Goff as in superflex leagues. He's gonna go late. Um, I'm personally end of the season. I think Goff's gonna have a better season than Purdy. I think Goff's gonna have a better season than possibly May and Williams also. Maybe even Herbert. I'm high on Goff this year. They sling the ball around, and I think he's got Brown too. Yeah, he's got Brown. It's a great. So you got double stacks right there. That's fire. You got the Evans Baker and the Goff Brown. Great start there to go with Barkley. Fucking amazing, amazing start. What's up, Nick? Checking in. AP, no other wide receiver in Pittsburgh. Yeah, definitely. He's gonna get fed the ball. I personally think they're gonna like. I was talking to somebody about it in one of these leagues. I think Keenan Allen's going to go there. I've been saying it for a while before they even signed Rodgers. I was like, I could see Keenan just going to Pittsburgh and being a Tomlin guy. I could also see him in Arizona going there. That would be interesting to see him with Tyler. I think Drew was saying that before. So we'll see what happens. Need to go get it. Yeah, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, you got to jump in one of these, bro. Whenever you're ready, we here. Hunter off the board after the Stroud pick, and Lawrence. Connor off the board to go with. That's a solid start. I like that. I like that. The double tight ends in Bowers, McBride. Two solid quarterbacks, Mahomes and Dak. Tyreek Hill at the wide receiver one, and you got Connor. You grab another running back after this, and then you probably just hammer wide receivers. Oh, if you guys hear thunder in the background, it's storming here in New York. I hear it coming. So, what do we got here, Minty? Back to we got the tight ends up. So Sam's still hovering there. That's good value for Sam right there. Like I said, I'm a Sam guy this year. Jordan Love is good value here. Henderson, I'm in and out on. I'm actually thinking about doing a Henderson draft pretty soon. He's good value. He's around the same price as this Achane. I think it maybe even a little less. I'd have to check, but I was up in the air whether I was going to do a Henderson fast draft or this Achane fast draft. But I like the value on this the most. I also like the Penix value. Penix is similar. He's in the low 20s. So who knows what's going to happen next year? I could see him going for something like 30. We just seen Baker went for 30, which I still feel like Baker's is good value, and the value is higher on that Baker because they were throwback jerseys. But yeah, all right. So there goes Sam off the board. So that's a solid start there. I like it, Jimmy. You got H as your RB1. You got the two pretty good quarterbacks, especially Daniels, obviously. Brown and McLaurin. Nice little stack there too with McLaurin and Daniels. I didn't notice that before. And you got Laporta. Uh, Drew with three solid running backs and two great wide receivers and Herbert. That's a solid start there. Plus, you got the correlation between Hampton and Herbert. Too bad Ladd didn't last that one more pick. That would have been nice. But Zay off the board. Zay, I'm not high on Zay that much. Best ball. He's good. Points overall, he's good. He's gonna have those games where he fucking pops. and then he's gonna have those games where he does dog shit. But it is what it is. You take the good with the bad with players like that, you know. Um, I don't know. Not that I fade the home run guys. I still look for I still favor consistency. But those home run, if anything, I get home run guys towards the end of the draft that I'm looking to pop. But Love off the board with Hawkinson. Hawkinson's great value there too with the 7-1 and tight end premium. You guys are sleeping on these tight ends. Um, yeah, Kittle. But yeah, so fresh off that Flowers pick, let's see what he's got here. Kelsey. Okay. Let's see what we got. All right, Fields is a solid pick. Russian quarterback's always a good pick there to go with Herbert. Not bad. Fresh off that Sam pick. What do you got there, Jimmy? What do we got going on? Let me pull up the board here. I wish this shit was just a little different sized. Um, all right, and there goes Henderson off the board. Uh, Top players here, ADP wise, we got Worthy, Rome, Monty, Jameson Williams, Pickens is still hanging out there. Caleb Johnson, which I feel like that's a little too early for him still. Pacheco off the board at the 7-5, not too bad. My running back still there. I got my running back that I would have took. Whatever. Let you guys figure that out. I don't want to give you too much right now, but I said it last draft. He's my guy. Swift is my guy. I'm all over. There he is. Yeah, you go, Mint. Let's go. That's a great start right there, Minty. Swift with Genty, 3 solid wide receivers. Kittle is great. Great start. Great start. Good start. Xavier Worthy followed that up. Pickens. All right, Randall. Nice little Dallas correlation between Pickens and CD. That's solid. Fresh off that Hunter pick, what do we got, J Mart? Let's see. Yeah, boy. Tua. All right. Well, Rome went and then Tua. Not bad, not bad. Tua healthy. He has a lot of potential, but we all know how that is. Um, he hurt me a lot last year in a lot of leagues, but he's fried. How Miami didn't have a real quarterback behind him was insane. All right, we got Johnson off the board to go with Chuba and McCaffrey there. Rice, Marv, and Jefferson for Frank, the filthiest Frank I know. Back to back tight ends with there you go. You locked up Baltimore's tight ends, Andrew and Likely. So Andrews and Likely, not a bad it's definitely a reach for Likely, but you're just locking it up. So fuck it. Do what you gotta do. Um Frank, fresh off that Johnson pick. Top running backs are Monty, Jones, Pollard, Robinson, Tracy, ETN. Top wide receivers are Williams, Olave, Addison, Waddle, Judy. Yeah, there's still some good wide receiver value there. There's always I like the late wide receiver value. My guy's still there. He's still hanging out there. Good tight ends there. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Quarterbacks. There's Penix right there. All right, Ridley off the board to Frank. Pollard should be going soon. That would have been that's my go-to in Frank's position. I'm taking Pollard over Johnson, and then I'm still going Ridley on that wraparound. When I got something close to the turn, and those two are there, that's usually who I go with, and then possibly Ward if he's there on the way back. You know, grab that stack correlation. I'm not too high on that team in general, but I feel like that's still a really cheap stack to get later in the draft. So we'll see what happens though. Not bad, not bad, not a bad start. Jones off the board. WJW loves his running backs, man. Let me tell you. There goes Pollard to J Mart at the 8-4. Great value. Great value. Not bad, not bad. Williams off the board. See pairing Williams with Pickens. That's solid right there. You got to get tight end, but you're good. You're in good shape. That's a great start, Randall. Monty off the board. Let me bring this up for you guys. See who's still there. He's a real gambler. There's a lot of gamblers here. Shout out DGen by default. I'm surprised he's not here because he's defaultly a DGen. I don't know where he's at, but I know he was in here and he left. There's a couple guys that got in here and they slacked on paying or whatever, and they after the draft was after everything was locked in, they were like, "Ah, shit, I didn't pay." But I got to DM a couple of them and invite them into their community and get them as part of this. So, all right, so Monty off the board, Ward after that. So not bad, Minty. I still love the Genty and the Swift combo, the Burrow and the Ward. Not bad. Probably would have went one of the tight ends there, but it is what it is. I'd love Ingram this year. Ingram's gonna be the target monster, but there's still so many tight ends. Kincaid last year, he was getting drafted so high. A lot of people are high on Kraft this year. I'm like back and forth on him, but still got Zach Ertz and Hunter Henry. Kate Otton's not bad. Strange is good. So the tight ends are there. Judy off the board. All right. So after Ward, we had Godwin go, Judy, and then Waddle. Waddle, I could see in August. Let like some hype come out about him after the trade. Let him make a couple flashy plays in the preseason or something, and he'll be going in like the 6th round. People will be going crazy for him, and then Tua will get hurt. He'll slip back into the 2nd round. Tua is gonna get hurt during the season, and then that's it. Now Waddle's a good choice there. I like Godwin. Last year I was high on Godwin. I probably had him in I'd say like 40% of my leagues. Killed me. So who knows what's going to happen there in Tampa Bay? I feel like he's going to probably go off because I'm avoiding him this year. Judy, I think, is going to have a good start with Flacco, but who knows if Shador's going to take over there? I'm not sure. So Waddle's a good pick. I've never really been too high on Waddle. Jennings is not bad. I'm high on Ayuk this year, so I think Ayuk's gonna still be that guy there. I'm usually not because of Ayuk's value, like where he goes in drafts, his ADP doesn't line up for me. But this year, I feel like he's got good value. I don't know what you guys think about Ayuk, but hey, what's up, Bry? What's up, Bry? So yeah, I like. It's gonna be interesting because San Fran's definitely a question mark. I know one of you's in here. I think Drew. Are you a San Fran fan? I'm not even sure. One of you is a San Fran fan. Penix off the board to Sid with 3 quarterbacks. All right, Sid. Um, Top on the board available. Still, we got Olave, Addison, Tyler Warren, Young, Smith, Stafford, Brian Robinson, Tracy. So let's see. Let's see what we got for the wrap around here. All right. Jackson Holiday home run. Just looked that on my fantasy thing. I will be doing once basketball season starts, I'm gonna be doing basketball leagues where you get basketball jerseys. Hopefully for baseball too. I wish Sleeper would add baseball, but I'm gonna try to figure something out. I want to get everybody a chance to get some sick collections, man. Get their favorite players. Myers with the 9-2. I love that pick right there. I would have taken him over Jennings at the 8-11, but you got him anyway. Myers is definitely going to be solid there. ETN off the board also with the 9-1, so not bad. There's a few years that are drafting very good, similar to the way I would draft. Uh, Young off the board, not bad, not bad. Bring this down, brother. Yeah. Debo off the board. Okay, it's interesting to see what Debo's gonna do. And you got that other stack, great stack there. There you go. Nice, Jimmy. And then Ricky off the board. A lot of San Fran or ex San Fran players right over here. Um, yep, still after that Ward pick. Let's see what he's got here. Um, I'll do a little team recap in a little bit too. Gots to pee. I seen Mindy said. Uh, yeah, I made sure I peed before this. I was holding it in last draft. I was like, shit, I should have peed before I did this. But we'll see. 22 seconds. Minty, are you still peeing? All right. After round 15, a reminder after round 15, we will go to a 30-second clock, speed things up. I'll do full team recaps, all that stuff. All right. So after Ricky, we got Shakur and Gino. Not bad. Solid start. You got to pound these smart, and you got to pound these wide receivers. Get another running back. Stafford off the board to Randall. Let's see what we got here. Running back wise, we still got Robinson, Tracy, Cam, Ward. Ward's a solid pick right there. I just want to see something. I seen somebody facing competition. Yeah, no. I seen some shit that somebody sent it to me that Najee had a firework accident, but I didn't see it too many places. But I just wanted to see if it was on his name. But yeah, it wasn't a reliable source. So we'll see what happens. We should have did the JPP jersey for 4th of July. That would have been dope. But we had a good night. We started that the Genty jersey, so that's solid. All right, what do we got here now? Off the board, there it is. Ingram, J Mart, solid pick, solid pick. Let me, yeah, that was your first tight end that you grabbed. That's great. It's if you're gonna go late tight end and not take any in the first couple rounds, Ingram's definitely that guy to target. I'm going Ingram, and then I'm grabbing two of those the Gasecki, the Ertz, the not so much Goddard, the Hunter, stuff like that. I'm trying to grab two of them. Maybe a little Chicken Conquo a little later in the draft. That's another thing I do if I get the Tennessee stack. If I get Ridley, Pollard, Ward, something like that, I'll just grab Nkonkwo towards the end of the draft. And there we go with the Tracy and the Cam, fresh off the two Baltimore tight ends. He knows what he's doing with locking up those positions. So better hope for one of them to get hurt, I guess, or just one to not get playing time because a 50-50 split would kill you on that. I think Tracy's going to get his this year, and Cam might be that guy going forward. But Tracy's a small dude too, Hopefully he don't get hurt, but you never know. Um, Fresh off that, what do we got here? Off the Rogers, the Kraft, the Tucker Kraft. All right, cool. That's it. He's a heavy sleeper. A lot of people are in on Kraft this year. I'm like so on him. We'll see what happens. A lot of mouths to feed in Green Bay. The only guy I'm really grabbing from Green Bay is Jacobs and maybe Love. Not much else. Addison off the board. Sam's old running mate over there, but not bad, not bad. And then we got fresh off that Ingram pick. What are we taking here, J Mart? Stephon Diggs, solid pick there in the 10-4. I think he starts season, does fine. Olave, big question mark there. If he's healthy, he's probably going to be a target monster. Who knows how that offense is going to run? That's another offense I'm kind of staying away from because you just never know. But who knows? There goes Reed to Smart and Son. So we'll see where he's at with that. On the board, real quick. So we'll just go through. Quarterback, we got Richardson, which I don't mind a Richardson Jones stack. Like if I'm picking at the 10-11, the 11-2, something like that, the wraparound, I'm grabbing them. Running backs, Robinson's still standing there. Warren's standing there. Amazing value on Warren for whoever gets him coming up. He's got great value. I feel like he's the last running back that I would really be happy with having as a RB3, But What do you guys think of Warren this year? You think would you be satisfied having him as your RB3 and your flex spot with two solid running backs, uh, and Robinson off the board? Wide receiver, we got Golden, Ayuk, Cup is good value. Downs ain't bad. Trey Harris, I like a lot. There goes Warren. The pitter patter solid. That's my guy. Um, with Pacheco and Henry. See, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm not big on Pacheco at that 7.5, but it's not bad. I'm taking Swift. I'm taking Pollard over him. That's probably it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But all said and done, don't be surprised if Warren outperforms Pacheco. Everybody waited for Warren for years, and now that Najee's gone, he's got that shot. But Johnson's gonna be who knows who knows. We'll see what happens with that. Harris was off the board. Harris is gonna be a great wide receiver, great depth wide receiver to have. He's gonna have some. I think he's gonna be a stud there, honestly. But we'll see what happens. Warren off the board. Downs. We'll see what Downs does. I personally think Jones is going to be the guy there, and I hope so too. You know, for these wide receivers' sake, if because Richardson's not throwing him the ball consistently, Jones will give him volume at least. So let's see what we got here. Let me minimize this. All right, we got a couple on a wrap around here. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what Sid's doing from Hawaii. All right, a little Loveland action, not bad. With the 11-1. All right. Nice. I'll probably go running back there. Golden. All right. Golden's going to, I think. So, like I said, I'm not going after Green Bay wide receivers. If they fall, they fall. I don't mind taking like a Reed and a Golden if I'm on the back wraparound. Golden's gonna have I don't we'll see what happens. It's too close for me to call. I would just rather have wide receivers. Ayuk off the board. Ayuk is my guy. I just something's just telling me that Ayuk's gonna do good this year. But we'll see what happens with that. Najee Harris off the board. Okay, you got your handcuff, which is really just a 1A, 1B guy, you know. There's going to be those weeks when Najee outperforms Hampton, I think. Uh, I'd personally rather have Hampton. I mean, I'd rather have Najee at the 11-3 than Hampton at the 5-3. But you made the right choice. If as long as you lined it up, you're good. To go with Sam and Njoku there, that's a solid start there, Jimmy. Um, you got your five wide receivers, your two stand up running backs. You better be grabbing. Is he on the board? Is Ramondre there still? Yeah, he should be. Yeah. So Ramondre's not bad. Charbonnet's not a bad dart throw. Blue is there. I like Blue a lot. I like White. I think he's going underdrafted. But we'll see what happens with that. Kincaid off the board right after that Goddard pick. So a little three tight end run there. Not bad. All right, he's been killing the draft so far. So let's see who's got. He's doing here. I like killing, but he's been doing the draft good. All right, Mason off the board. They brought Mason in for a reason, more than just a handcuff. He's gonna get a lot of not a lot, but he's gonna get a good amount of touches. Um, Jones got the rock a lot last year. So I think they're going to try to preserve him a little bit. I'm just staying away from that backfield. I'm staying away from Minnesota mostly in general. If anything, I'm just taking Hawkinson. But Dobbins off the board, um, followed by Pittman and Ferguson. Who knows with Pittman? He could be healthy. You know, if he's healthy, then and Daniel Jones is there, he's going to be that guy. If Richardson's the quarterback, he'll get a little bit from him but who knows if him or Downs is going to be that wide receiver. Downs will probably be that wide receiver one, but Pittman's hurt. You know, he was hurt last year. Ferguson followed up by the Smith pick. That's crazy to think if you would have said you're drafting Smith right after Ferguson. If you would have said that 2 weeks ago, that would have been crazy. but not after that trade. And there goes Richardson off the board. Take Jones. Take Jones. You know you want to. There he goes. I knew it. After the Baltimore, after the Green Bay, now you got Richardson and Jones. Lock it in. Got to find a QB. Yeah. Um, what do we got available there? Anybody? Nothing worth it, but uh, you could grab Russell and then just grab Dart afterwards, and Flacco and Shador. Um, by week 10, there's a good chance that Shador's starting. I think Flacco starts the season and then Shador comes in to clean it up after Cleveland is completely out of it. Um, I also think the same thing, but I think that the Giants, Wilson might do a little something with the Giants, but once they're out of it, then Dart's going to come in there. So we'll see what happens. Um, Spears off the board after Jones, Coleman off the board after that. Let's see. Um, those back-to-back picks are nice, solid. Yeah, Stafford's good value there. Ingram's great value. I'm just scanning through a couple teams, finding Laporta's good value to me. Fields good value. Waddle good value. Myers good value. So we'll see. Williams off the board. Now Williams. Let's see. In Dallas, change of scenery. He's gonna probably be that guy. I am high on Blue also. Prior to the draft, I was high on Williams. I was drafting him thinking he's going to be a league winner. Maybe he still is. Who knows what's going to happen completely there? But we'll see. We'll be on board for it. Higgins off the board. Going to be interesting. I'm a Kirk guy. I think Kirk's going to do solid there, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let's see. Let me just go to the chat real quick just to remind everybody. 30 seconds after round 15. All right. Where we at here? Still there, waiting on Minty now. He's scattering those quarterbacks probably. Yeah, that's who you go with. Nah, I would have went Russell, but that's not bad. I don't know what's gonna happen with Rattler. You gotta grab him late. We'll see what happens. New Orleans is just a complete mess. Benson off the board, Stevenson off the board. There you go. You got your guy. You got your handcuff. Solid. Stevenson ain't shit though. Henderson's gonna be that guy. That's why I really think we got to do a Henderson jersey soon. I could get my hands on a good red one of the red ones, like I don't know if that's like the throwbacks or the alternatives that they have, but that's good value. Good value for the rookies. I could also get like I was looking the other day at some Royals jerseys, like Kansas City wide receiver, that rookie. I'm high on him as a sleeper. All right, so after Stevenson, we got Cup off the board, Charbonnet off the board, Blue off the board. Solid sleeper there for Sid. Um, Not bad. Two good sleepers there. Golden and Blue. They're good guys to have. See what happens. Fresh off the wraparound. Let's see what we got. Um, yeah, after round 15, we will be going to a 30-second clock. Just a reminder. Um, Taking this clock. I can't wait for the 30-second clock. And then we'll be flying. I like to talk in the beginning of it. The 1 minute clocks are good through the first couple rounds. I wasn't sure if I should do a sped up clock after 13 or 15, so I figured I would go with 15. And Mooney off the board. Not a bad late wide receiver. I don't have too much faith in Penix to really pound Mooney with the ball. Like that was another thing I was saying about Keenan Allen before. I wonder what Keenan Allen's value would be if he were to go to Atlanta, and what what it could be. But I could see in a dome that would be cool to see Keenan playing in Atlanta in a dome. Like more than that, I could see Amari probably going there. But I like I said before, I see Keenan going to like Pittsburgh or Arizona. I don't think New England anymore, but we'll see what happens there. Shaheed off the board, Pitts off the board. Shaheed's another one of those home run players. You know, he's gonna have those games where he's gonna put up 30, 35 points, like two of them. He'll have like two of those games, and in other games he's gonna do absolutely nothing. But that's a great best ball player. Pitts off the board to pair up with Warren. Drew's got they had solid two tight ends, not bad. Russell and Dart back to back picks there for Jimmy and Pitter Patter. Um, Roddy White or a little White off the board there, not bad. So that's great. That's solid. So you got the Genty, Swift, Robinson, and White. White's on your bench most of the season, but he's gonna have those games where he pops. Um, he was the guy. He was the guy going into last year. But every draft that I have him in, I was grabbing Bucky as his handcuff, and good thing I had him as a handcuff because he was my performer. And in best ball, I actually won. I won a decent amount of leagues with them because I was big on Tampa Bay stacks last year. I was grabbing them. I was grabbing Baker. I was grabbing Evans. I was getting Godwin late. And there was some weeks where I had the two running backs, Irving and White, both in the lineup as starting running backs or starting running back in a flex. So it is a good system there. Solid pick with the. I'm gonna go jump over that, but Kirk and Higgins back to back picks. That's solid there. That's the way to do that. Like good job there. So yeah, you got that Lawrence and the Thomas stack. I didn't even notice that before, so that's solid. Um, all right, let's see. Fresh off that Williams pick, Blue is off the board, so you're gonna go with another Williams. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. And you got Diggs, so that's good to go with Drake May. That's a late stack that you got there. Not bad. I think Diggs is gonna be the main guy there. Honestly, if I was you, J Mart, I'd probably try to grab. There he is. Never mind. I was gonna say try to get Hunter Henry. That's the pick that I would have got there. But there's still tight ends there. Ertz is still there. Kaseki's still there. Who else we got? Otten I like. Um, Strange, yeah. That's about it. And then Conquer. After that, it really dries up. Maybe you could roll the dice on Komet, and you could also roll the dice on Conklin. Conklin gets targets, but who knows how much he's going to get. And I think he's had like 80 plus targets for the past like since he came in, maybe something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but all right. So after the Hunter Henry pick, Frank grabbed Flacco, followed by Ertz and Betch on the wraparound. That's solid. So you got your two tight ends that are both Baltimore, and then you got Ertz. So that's your tight ends right there. You're pretty solid. Maybe later on you do grab a tight end also, but like a Conklin or something like that, like we were saying. But otherwise, you're pretty content there. Not bad. I would still grab one more, but it is what it is. Garendo off the board, Eckler off the board. I feel like Eckler's value is really good too. He's just that offense is growing. He's still going to get his. He's a good best ball running back. Taylor off the board, Gasecki off the board, Burton off the board. Not bad. Um, let's see what we got with that. Yes. So yeah, that's a pretty good start there. For I like WJW's picks. I like J Mart's picks. Randall's got some good picks there. All right, so we have Thielen off the board to Minty. Pitta got the strange pick to go with Goddard. Is that his only tight ends? Yeah, interesting. A couple guys are weaker at tight ends, but tight end premium makes it interesting. Plus, you're stacking position players at that point. The value's got to be there. Let other guys reach on tight ends that aren't really going to get the targets just because it's tight end premium. Just got a notification too that Jmart is on the clock in the Ricky Williams League. So after this, go check out that Ricky Williams League, bro. That's a slow draft, also. That one's a slow draft. All right, Tyler Algier off the board. You don't have Robin. You don't have Robinson. Yeah. See, I was big on Algier last year because he had good value because he was good the year before. I thought he was just going to be, I thought it was going to be like a one super A and a 1B there. I wouldn't even say 1A, 1B, but I really thought that Algier was going to have some standalone value some weeks, and he really did shit, you know? Tillman off the board. It's a good dice roll there. Bigsby off the board in Jacksonville. There's such a short leash on both of them, honestly, in Jacksonville. So who knows what's going to be the running back situation. For all I know, they might fucking put Travis Hunter there. And he would probably be a better running back than any running back they have there. I like ETN, I like Bigsby, but they can't fucking do it. So we'll see what happens. Actually, I did see a sick Maurice Jones-Drew jersey the other day that I was like, oh man, I wonder if anybody would be interested in it. But he was the man back in the day. All right, so Bateman and Allen off the wraparound there. Not a bad start. Well, not a start, but after this round, I will be switching the clock. Um, all right. Top available. We still Marvin Mims is solid. Let's go through the. We'll run through it real quick. Fairmuth, Otten. Otten's good value. I'll go guys I think are good value. Mims and Otten are great value. Ray Davis is good value, but a handcuff. Hollywood Brown, I'm very high on. Leggett, not so much. Shador, interesting. Rico could have good value. Johnson could have good value if he could fucking hold on to the ball. Everybody's Johnson Stonehands, they were calling him last year. Devon Neal, that's good value. So like Neil, I'm big on playoff leagues because last year they shut Kamara down. I feel like they're gonna do the same shit this year. I'm not. I probably won't draft Kamara in a single league this year just because of how bad New Orleans is gonna be, and they're gonna try to shut him down probably. Roshan's good value, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's give a little recap. Oh, the running backs. Everybody's grabbing running backs, right? I like that team. Not bad, not bad. Uh, Davis off the board. Minty, what do we got, Minty? There's a couple. Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford's not bad. Pat Bryant's gonna be interesting, you know. Also, that like if I have Sutton, I'm high on Sutton this year for where he's going. So if I'm grabbing Sutton, I'm grabbing Mims, and then I'm also grabbing Pat towards the end. Uh, Maybe even a little Franklin. I'll sprinkle that in there, but not so much. Conk was a great one. Palmer, who knows with him? I was high on Palmer last year. I had him probably in like 60% of my leagues because he was going late. I was really loving him, but that came back to backfire. But it is what it is. Kareem Hunt, I was very high on pre-draft, but who knows? He'll still get his. Royals, I like a lot. So there's my guy Keenan Allen waiting there. Tyler Lockett. That's it. Tennessee's going to be a question mark. I'm on Lockett also. All right, let's see what we got there. There goes Brian off the board. The Randall, Hollywood Brown off the board. Douglas off the board. Out of those three, I like Brown. Brown's my guy. We'll see what happens. Not my guy, but out of those three, he's my guy that I'm drafting. Um, so we'll see what happens. Waller off the board with the 15-10 right after Roshan Johnson, which I do like Roshan. They didn't really bring much in the off season, so at least no veteran presence. So Swift is that guy, but we'll see what happens. Mims on the off the board. Clock 2:30 at all. Whoa, what the fuck is that? Clock to 30 seconds. All right. Switching it now. All right, 30-second clock. Once we get down a couple rounds, we'll we'll do a little recap of all the teams. All right. Anybody? How do you guys feel about your teams? Anybody loving their teams? Wish they would have did something different. Uh, let me know what you're thinking. Quentin Johnson off the board. Um, Not bad to pair. These are all later picks, you know. Fresh off that Roshan pick. What do we got? J Mart. Don't get autoed. All right. Johnson off the board. Kate Otten. Kate Otten's great value for Otten at the 16.5. For a late round tight end, he's great. So Randall did it pretty well, you know. He stacked all his positions and then grabbed Gasecki and Otten. It's not exactly the build I would go with because I would have grabbed. I probably would have grabbed looking back from hindsight, yeah, you grab Ingram there. But who knows you because forget it, forget what I was. It's just if you're gonna build a team that way, that's the way to do it because you grab Gasecki and Otten. Ankaku went after Otten, which is solid. I would. Who's he got there besides that? Yeah, that's his own. No, he's got the that's solid too. You got the two stud tight ends to start, and then you come at the end and grab Ankaku too, which is great to to go with everything. So that's solid. Pierce off the board, Leggett off the board, Crom off the board, Giddens off the board, Komet. Yeah, Komet's interesting. You know, I was so high on him pre-draft, and then they go and draft Loveland, and you're like, ugh. But we'll see what happens there. Um, all right. On the wraparound, Sid with the Ferg pick. Ferg with the 1-1. Yeah, you did. You screwed up your QB situation. It sucks. Um, no, I'm not saying it sucks that your team sucks, but having those QBs with the same buys does suck. Um, but who knows? You know, you got some solid players. It is a super flex, so you're just biting the bullet and not starting a quarterback really 1 week. If anything, I would just pound New Orleans quarterbacks. You know, try to grab whatever quarterbacks is still there. Maybe grab a Shador. You know, by week 10, Shador might be starting. Uh, like your next two picks, I'd probably grab Shador, Rattler. Um, who else could be starting? You know, you never know. You know, maybe even Quinn Ewers and Wilson because who knows what Tua. But also late, if I'm in a jam, sometimes I'll grab Winston because I feel like there's a good chance that if players get injured or whatever, that the Giants just trade Winston for like a fourth round pick or a fifth round pick, sixth round pick, who knows. But he's just going to be eating up spots. I love Winston. He's just fun to watch. But who knows? You don't start a quarterback week 10, whatever. You lose possibly 30, 35 points overall. It does suck, but you build it, you know. Um, and then Sanders is off the board already. So Sanders, Hunter, Hill, Palmer, Chubb. And then we got Lockett off the board. Let's see, Lockett to go. I like Lockett because he's just a catch it, get it down guy. He'll probably grab his like 2 to 4 receptions a game. Get you. It's a low floor, you know. He's got a good floor. It's not bad. Um, Conklin after that to Frank. Not bad, not bad. Dalton Schultz after that on the wraparound. What do we got here? Romeo Dobbs. Okay. All right. Romeo Dobbs off the board. Keeping it rolling after that Conklin pick. This is where it starts to thin out. You getting those handcuffs here. You know, Faramuth's still there. Uh, Noel's there. I'm not too high on him. Hopkins is interesting in best ball. Ollie Gordon, I kind of like. Royals, I love here. That's my guy. Uh, Yeah, not too Amari Cooper possibly. Calvin Austin could be interesting, especially if they don't bring in somebody. Spencer Rattler, hopefully Minty grabs him. Uh, Shipley's the handcuff. Darius Slayton's like, it's all hit and miss here. Bannon, who knows? That's not a bad tight end that's late there. Mungali, I like that as a running back because I'm high on Swift, so I grab him a lot. Um, yeah, it's interesting. Horton, I kind of like as a sleeper. Tesla, I like a lot as a sleeper. Interesting. I thought before the draft, I thought that there was a lot of rumbles that they were going to trade Williams, that Detroit was going to trade Williams to Dallas before the Pickens deal, and that would have been huge for Tesla's value. But it is what it is. Kendra Miller is an interesting late target. Adwell also. I'll grab Adwell late because as a bench wide receiver because they gave him the money for a reason. He'll have his games where he'll have a couple touchdowns, nothing crazy, but round wise, it's not bad. Let's go back up. I'll do the recaps in a little bit. I'll go through who was off the board. All right, so Keenan Allen, Lloyd off the board, Johnson, Rattler off the board, Sanders. There goes Royals to Minty. That's a solid pick there. Hopkins, another solid pick for this round. Noah Gray, Gladyston, Wilson off the board with the 18-11. I like that value there. Um, all right, so let's I'll do a couple I'll do some whole team evaluations real quick. We'll go with Sid first. We'll start with the 1-1. Josh Allen, love love Allen and Penix. That's a solid quarterbacks there. Most of the time you're gonna bank Allen's there, Love's there, Penix off the on your bench. Not bad. London Higgins, Adams, Golden, Mooney, Bateman, not too bad. I'm not that high on Higgins this year. I think Adams is going to get a lot of touchdowns. Uh, Bucky and ETN and Blue, I'm not too high on this team. I'm not my honest. I'll give you my honest opinion. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not ETN. I'm not too high on. I would have tried to push to get a running back earlier over the third quarterback. Uh, but it is what it is. And then we'll go to the team 1-2 here. If you guys want to give your opinions too, go for it. And obviously, like I say, my opinion is just my opinion. I'm no fucking professional. I'm just a guy that likes sports fantasy, sports memorabilia, and I I'm not a millionaire, so I'm doing this from my home computer on a laptop. I'm not sitting in the studio, so I'm not no fantasy guru. This team I do like a lot. Jackson Jacobs is my guy. The Jackson and Kyler combo is solid. McConkey, I do like McConkey. I'm very very high on Harris this year, so that's the only thing that's holding me back from drafting a lot of McConkey. Um, Walker is great to go with. Jacobs, Zay, I'm not too high on, but the boom capability is there for him. He'll have those games. Kelsey's decent. I like the start of this team, and it starts to fade off, but then it brings me back in because I do like Myers. I like Ayuk. You got the handcuff for Walker, which is huge. That's a that's a necessity at that point. You got a couple other home run guys. Kareem Hunt towards the end. Um, let's go to Drew. Drew banged it out with two solid wide receivers with Collins and Jamar is great. You got three solid running backs to start, plus Najee, who's going to have some standalone value weeks, and he's also a solid handcuff. I think it's more of a 1A, 1B. Who knows who's going to be that guy there in my book? But Fields, I love. Herbert's solid. Plus, you get those correlations with your guys. Waddle, I like a lot. Young is so. Warren will get his, especially if like I keep saying, if Jones is there, he's gonna their whole offense is gonna be different. Cup is a great 12-10 value there. Pitts, dart throw. I don't draft him because he's burned me every single year. um, not bad. That's my top team so far right there, Drew. Drew's got the top team in my book. Daniels, Achane, Brown, McLaurin, Williams. I was just gonna stop there, but Laporta, I love those first six picks. They're solid. I'm not too high on Williams, but he's great value where he is. He's solid. Probably would have the only quarterback that went after him. I probably would have took Goff and maybe Dak, but solid. You got two good wide receivers to start, two target monsters. I think Brown's gonna have a bounce back here. Brown, he wasn't too much involved in the offense. That's what it is. He don't get all those looks in those consistent games, but he'll have his, especially once he don't have a game and then he bitches. They'll hit him off the next like 2 games with a lot of targets. Henderson's a solid pick. Judy, Samuel, and Harris are great late round, mid round wide receivers. And Joku's solid. You got your handcuff. Yeah, not a bad team. I like that team a lot. Uh, Pitter patter with the. Let me see if anybody just. I screwed up. Yeah, he's still on. I was just checking the comments. Hertz, Henry, Wilson. So Hertz and Purdy is a solid 1-2. Still would have rather have had Dak or Goff over that. McMillan and Wilson should get their targets. I don't know how consistent they're going to be, but interesting. Henry's good. Warren's a great value pick. I've said that. Pacheco's solid. Still would have took Swift over him, but it is what it is. Strange is a great sleeper pick for tight end. Hopkins is a good pick for where he went off. I like this team a decent amount. Still favoring Drew's team. I love Drew's team. Um, I like Drew's team and I like Jimmy's team. The beginning of overall, I like Jimmy's team. It's not bad. Um, Minty's team is good too. I remember talking about him. So you went Burrow first, Genty, Kittle, solid. Then you banged out 3 wide receivers: JSN, Metcalf, and Sutton. That's great. Then you got Swift, who's my guy. Ward is a great guy, and I'm on. You killed yourself at quarterback. It's the only thing that I wish you wouldn't have did because this team would have been mint, just like your name. Yeah, but if you would have grabbed like a Geno there, maybe. Who knows? But it's a solid team though. Kincaid, we'll see what happens with Kincaid. Maybe he had all the hype was around him last year. Maybe this year he's good. Thielen, White, Royals, solid. Yeah, grab you. Yeah, stack these quarterbacks now. Just fucking go nuts and grab quarterbacks, bro. Mint, I like the way you draft a lot, bro. I've seen a lot of your drafts so far. Even these slow drafts, I keep up on them, bro. I like the way you draft a lot. You're a very good drafter. You definitely know how to play each draft to its own to whatever it's offering. I like that. Drew, there's a lot. A lot of these, half of this team, half of the league is the main guys, but you guys all draft very well. Um, Smartenson now with the double tight ends. Let's see how he came about after that build with the back-to-back tight ends. Mahomes, Dak, Geno, 3 quarterbacks that are solid. Geno, not so much. I probably would have waited because you grabbed the 2 tight ends, but there really wasn't much value there from the quarterback. That's what's rough with the points too. It's not like you could just be like, "Oh, I'll burn a week and then make up for it if I make playoffs." But Hill, Worthy, Reed, I like Brown there. Palmer, you got some good, not bad. Slayton, so. Smith, I kind of like, but it. You made it happen with the 2 tight ends. It's not too bad, but Mason too, I like, and you took Nkonkwo, who I like also. So that's not a bad team. I still like Minty and Drew probably, and Jimmy pretty much topped off. Randall, I like the way he started his build too with Lamb, Thomas, Brown, Williams, Mixon. That's a great start. Lawrence, great start. You get that stack with Thomas. Pickens, he took with the 7-8. Williams with the 8-5. That's pretty good wide receivers there. And Olave could be great value at 10-5. Your QB2 is Stafford. It's a little bit of a question mark, but I wait on quarterbacks, so I'm in Stafford's range on quarterbacks, I guess. We'll see what happens. With Puka and Adams, I think they're going to be more of a pass happy team in the red zone with Adams there now. So we'll see what happens. Dobbins, Higgins and Kirk are great. Bryant's great. Gasecki and Otten are great. Rattler. Overall, yeah, I like that. Randall's team is solid. I like personally Randall, Minty, Jimmy, and Drew solid. J Mart, Robinson, Neighbors, Hall, Bo Nix and Maine solid. Hunter, Rome, and Neighbors is solid, but I like the Diggs pick. I like the Williams pick. Both Williams picks kind of, especially because you got Diggs. Roshan, I like that pick. Lockett, I like that pick. About the end of the last round of the draft, so I'm timing this out pretty well. Gibbs, Cook, Kamara, Jones as your that's solid. I'm not too high on Jones, but for his value and for his QB4, I don't really mind it. Possibly would have went wide receiver like Williams or Waddle there, or Myers even over Jones, just because of your build. But you got Addison, who's not bad there. QB wise, Stroud, Tua, Darnold is a solid. You waited on QB till the sixth round, and you made it happen at that point. Uh, Ferguson's going to be interesting tight end. I like Henry and Waller a lot. I love Eckler. Jerome Ford's going to be interesting. Johnson's pretty interesting because who knows what's going to happen with that. Whitening's pretty interesting. Miller, not a bad team. I like that team. Frank, what do we got here, Frank? Your team's filthy, bro. Nah, filthiest Frank. We got Jefferson, CMC, Harrison, Rice, Chuba. Um, all right, that's see. So your quarterback, yeah, your quarterbacks McCarthy and Rogers. Not too bad. I'm not a big guy, McCarthy guy, but it's not bad overall. Good draft, everybody. Draft just ended. I'm still going over the teams, but I got team and a half left. So thanks for tuning in for the draft. But I'm still rocking here. Uh, we got the Spears pick is interesting because he'll have his game. Spears is good with best ball. Marvin Mims is solid value. Keenan. So I like Frank's team. Not a home run team to me, but it's a solid team week in and week out. I like the way it'll go. And last but not least, we got this was a stack team. I like this. I like the way you build this team with Brown and Goff stack, Evans and Mayfield stack. Barkley is your first pick, who's your certified RB1. You came with the 6-1, grabbed another running back, your second running back with Harvey. You grabbed your Andrews and Likely. You locked down the tight ends in Baltimore. Then you locked down the running backs with the Giants. You locked down the quarterbacks with Indy. And then you grabbed Ertz as another tight end. But your wide receiver 3 is going to be hold on one second. What's up, Ed? I'm live on the stream right now. No, I'm still on. Hold on. I'm on the last guy. So the Ertz, yeah, the wide receiver 3, you got Betch. How do you feel, Ed? You got St. Brown and Evans as your wide receivers 1 and 2, and then you don't take one till the 14th round. You get Betch, McMillan, Dowd, Romeo Dowds, Tesla, Gabe Davis, and Westbrook Achane. What do you think of those wide receiver situations?
I mean, you definitely should have added at least another piece, but I mean, no injuries wise. I mean, yeah, like ride or die, but
yeah, best ball. You have that ability to do that. So it's interesting. He has a good team. He has some good stacks. This dude. He's got Brown and Goff as a stack, Mayfield and Evans as a stack, and Barkley as his RB1, which is a great start. But
no, that's what I mean. Like wide receivers are everywhere, but to like not draft someone else until like the 14th round is like kind of crazy.
Yeah, but all right, yeah, Ed, I'll call you back in a couple minutes. Thanks for being my first feature on the YouTube.
Oh wow!
All right, later, bro.
Peace out.
All right, so yeah, that tunes it in. I figured I'd answer the phone. That's my boy from work. That was my first co-host there. So Big Ed checking in. So overall, it was a good draft. Everybody, I like Drew's team a lot. I like the second team. I like Drew's team. I like Jimmy's team. I like Minty's team. Pitta Patta's team ain't too bad. Um, the two running back, the two tight ends, Smart and Son, so. Randall's team I like a lot. Randall's team I really like a lot. J-Mart's got a pretty good build there. I don't mind it. I love the Ingram pick. WJW's got a good build. Frank's got a good build. This has just got an interesting good build. We'll see what happens. I feel like the wide receivers are going to hurt him, but it is best ball, so it's not hard to fill that wide receiver 3 week in and week out with somebody that's going to just do whatever, you know. So maybe he went a little too crazy with the double Baltimore picks, the double Giants, and the double Indy because you gave up on so much value. Where you could have went Andrews Ridley. Andrews Ridley would have been that. Yeah, that would have been so fire if you would have had Ridley, Brown, and Evans, and let likely rock. You know, at that point. But you could say a million things after the stream. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll be posting more leagues. Probably going to do a Henderson fast draft next. And just keep grinding, you know. Going to keep putting these leagues out. I'm going to post something in the channel soon for requests for players to suggest, and then I'll run a poll on what players to do, and we'll keep it going. We'll keep these streams going. Like, follow, subscribe. I don't know what the fuck you do. I'm just enjoy your night, guys. I'll see you next time.